Hello, welcome for today's module. We have been trying to study about human settlements and urban design. In our previous modules, we tried to study what is urban. When we tried to compare urban and rural, we tried to know the process when we study architecture, what is the process while studying or reading an architecture. And parallelly, we tried to know how an urban space is formed and how to read urban form or the cities or the settlements. Various layers we tried to study. So today we are going a step further. We are trying to know the origin of all of this. We know about various settlements, we know about towns, the cities. So how are all these formed? If they are in a certain form today, what are the reasons behind it? If there are few organic cities, there are few cities that look like very well planned, very structured. So how did this structure come in picture? So this is what we are trying to evaluate today. Okay, so if we know the story of humankind, how human being evolved throughout the period of time, we all have been calling human as a caveman. You know, when we talk about the ancient times, we call him as a caveman. But if we try to study really, he is not a caveman, but has always been a nomad, right? He used to go to places, pray and find in search of food, etc. But later in his process of evolution, he tried to use caves, etc. as his shelter, because he knew the importance of shelter to save himself from the various natural calamities or the climate varying climatic situations. So he knew the importance of shelter, so that's how he started living at one place. But along with this, he knew the need of to satisfy his hunger, he started praying. But not only praying, but further he evolved into doing agricultural practices, then other social practices also he started to develop. So specifically when we talk about agriculture, he tried to find about river banks. They were most fertile part where he could do agriculture in a best way. So then he started settling there while doing agriculture. But this all was been done in a community or in a group. So that is how a community formed. Now when this community is trying to stay together, because they knew the power of staying together, being safe from animals or other climatic etc these forces, then the concept of staying together as a community started forming. So now to protect himself, he started building a wall along his settlement. So that was the kind of fortification that started coming. So these all various elements started giving the settlement a kind of form. So let us now study. Now after this, there have been a few more stages. So let us see all these stages one by one in detail.
The very first type is known as before early towns. Specifically, when we talk about Indian context, the evolution of cities, the first known type of city planning is before early towns. Okay, so these towns, in this period, the Vedas were written. The social structure was based on the classes of people, and the societies were also formed. The roles of people were decided. The same societal structure, it reflected into the hierarchy of patterns in planning of the settlement or any towns. So if we see at regional level also, if there was a smaller town, it was always connected with the whatever surplus population was, it was to be housed in a newer place. So for that also planning was done, and the towns were interconnected. The positioning was there so that they could help each other. And also there was higher proportion of agriculturists and shudras in those categories. So also the market performed the sale of goods that were received from the traders on the highways. So all these plannings were all considered, and then the town was planned. If we see a very typical feature of these before early towns, they had quite a few underlying concepts. Okay, so if there was the city, it was usually located in the central part, that so that it could facilitate the trade and commerce facilities. Then the site would have been always a larger area, which was mostly near the perennial water body like river or any lake or any water body. So then the even the shape was mostly circular, rectangular, or square, and it would suit the topography that was there in that region. And they would separate the areas for marketing different goods. So the wall around the town, it was the kind of fortification that helped for safety. And also there were for more security, there were 3 or 4 moats that were placed. So moats, that is the water system, so it also protected the town. The roads were 3 eastward and east west and 3 north south. So this was quite a typical feature. And there were wells, there were houses located along with the commonwealth for 10 houses, then main roads, secondary roads. So these all were typical features. In these towns also we had various types like Dandaka, Swastika, Padmaka. All these patterns could be identified because of their particular form. So the one shown here in the diagram is the swastika kind of town planning that had come up in this period. So in swastika, if we see particularly as a feature, these pattern were divided. These patterns of geometry, they divided the site into certain rectangular plots. Okay, the site need not be marked out into a square or rectangle or any, but whatever shape is there geometrically available, that site was selected, and then the parts were formed. Then the rampart wall surrounded the town, which with a moat at its foot filled with water. So 2 main streets cross each other at the center, running south to north and west to east. This was very peculiar feature of the swastika kind of town plan that was seen in this early towns. So now if we see the later part of evolution, there came another category known as which was together known as early towns. So if we see early towns specifically, these were more of a river valley civilization that was found. So if for example we had in India, it was in India or Indian continent, it was more of Indus Valley civilization. Then so these early towns specifically, they had very peculiar characteristics again. The first true towns are the larger settlements where the inhabitants would no longer simplify the farmers of the surrounding area, but they also tried to take a specialized occupations where they were mostly trading. So these two towns mostly flourished along the river basins. The rivers were used as a trade route as well as for the irrigation purpose and navigation as well. So these were the regional centers for larger peripheral hinterland. So this was a kind of upper level planning where the region is also considered and to be fulfilled its needs. So the power specifically for these regions was centralized and governance was established. So now we see the evolution of human defining his power and the territory. So the rules, regulations started coming in picture. So that gave an orderly development to this kind of town planning. So if we see the density, the size of population should be above normal. So that was also considered. Then there was taxes being paid to a deity or a king. Then monumental public buildings were had come up. So these peculiar features were identifying this kind of a type, we would say, in the evolution. So if we see specifically in Indian context, a very well known example is the Indus Valley civilization. So and in this picture we see a imagined image and the mapped image of Indus Valley civilization. So if we see architecturally, it shows that this is a river valley civilization, and it is quite well acknowledged by everybody because it was quite peculiar. So like in the great baths or granaries, so these all features were seen in this type of civilization. So few observation can also lead us to understanding their concept behind town laying. A hierarchical system was there, hierarchical system of citadel and town, systems of supreme power and the subordinates that was reflected in the layout of the town. The city dwellers were mostly traders and craftsmen and essentially different from the farmers. So that is something again adding to the previous levels of evolution. So since to cater such a large population which was living close together, some kind of order was definitely necessary. So that's why grid iron pattern and the rectangular street started to be seen. Then some common services like drainage, water supply, these were also thought of because they were a need and they were then planned. So unlike in the rural counterparts, it was not much seen. But here, being a larger scale population, it was thought of. So also the sophisticated and advanced urban culture was seen. The streets in perfect Ridan pattern, both in Harappa and Mohenjo-daro, are, we all are very well equipped with this knowledge that this evolution of a well-planned grid and pattern had come up in this time. Then we also know about world's first sanitation system. So this was more, out of the evolution of idea of staying together at a larger scale. So there was evident zoning scene. If we see religious activities, institutional, then cultural areas, all these were properly divided, or we could say zoned. Then the northern part was dedicated for agriculture and industry. Southern was for administration, trade and commerce. So this all thoughts were given. Then there were a hierarchy of streets into primary, secondary and tertiary. So there were public spaces, which was public accessibility, which was all thought of. Then if we try to see temple towns as a next stage of evolution in Indian subcontinent, then the temple towns were again, now if we see not only in India but also temple towns or the church towns, if we say in the western part of the world, they were majorly based on the prime function or the very reason for the existence of the town, that was the religious reasons. So these could span from early to medieval ages. So as the name suggests, these religious buildings are the focal point for these town planning. Okay, so let us try and see one example which will explain us more about the temple town kind of typology. Okay, so in Indian context, the very peculiar example that could be identified is the town of Madurai. So we all know Madurai as a specific temple town. So in its planning, in the ancient town planning pattern is seen. This town shows the typical feature of a temple town, where the temple formed the center of the town and it started growing concentrically, radiating from the center, that is the temple, towards the outer side. So if we see the city structure and the grain of the town, the concentric road network emphasizes the position of the temple and it formed the structure of the town. So the other perpendicular roads to this center were concentric rings that provided an approach road to the temple, and thus they became equally important, and that's why important activities like which were supporting the temple activities started being seen along these axes. Then if we see, important public and institutional buildings also started coming along these important axes. So that this all specifies that what was the prime important idea for evolution of this typology, right? So if we see the next type, it is in the sequence of evolution, specifically in Indian context when we talk after temple towns, what is recorded is the medieval towns. Okay, so medieval towns, they had a trade as their focus. Okay, like in temple towns we could say that temple was the focal point. Here it shifted towards the medieval town, towards the trade. So majorly in 14th and 16th century, if we see, these trade, commerce and markets, they started dominating and they started formation of these medieval towns. So trade routes were defined, the location of these they started defining the location of these towns. The political and religious centers, they started coexisting together because they were supporting each other. The royal palace, it started forming as a generator of the urban structure. The street bazaars that started coming up along the important axes, or religious institutes, they also started coming along the important axis. Then major public spaces were also the forecourts of religious and also the administrative buildings. So the development of specialized spaces that could cater to all these activities and the supporting craft activities or the bazaars that was specialized, and the mohall. So according to that, the residential typology of mohalla started coming in picture, which was based on the caste, and the caste was based on majorly on the occupation. Okay, this was a shift from the previous planning. So this that started manifesting into the allocation of space for that particular community, or that was having a common occupation. Okay, so if we see these medieval towns, I would say a few examples. If we talk in case of religion, it was Ahmedabad is seen in the same context, then Bhopal, Agra, Hyderabad, this could be seen in this context. Okay, so if we talk about medieval towns according to their location or the political center, then again Shahjahanabad is one important example. The one with citadel, if we see, then Jodhpur can also be categorized under this category. So let us see one example of medieval towns. So specifically in Indian context, if we talk, Shahjahanabad can be identified as a very well example. So this town started establishing on the banks of river Yamuna, edging on one side. So if we see here, the hierarchical control system of the emperor, his subordinates and the citizens, it started governing the urban form. So here the major prime important was the emperor. So the strategic location on the river bank for defense mechanism and additional fortification wall, it started deciding the expanse of the town. The proximity to the Grand Trunk trade route also remained another governing factor. So do you see this change from the religious activity towards trade route, and that giving a prime importance for the form or specific form of this town, right? The axial roads, they started radiating from the fortress and were laid out. So the other important public and institutional buildings, they started placing them on these axes. So the various stages of evolution we see here, the physical urban structure is seen in this diagram. So the important roads also were connected outwards to the major cities that were along the trade routes. So this was one very peculiar feature that could be identified here. The river edge, the fortification wall, the axial roads and other radiating routes, they started defining the urban form of Shahjahanabad. And it was a capital city, so the major trading center was established with main markets along the radiating routes. So these features were a very dominant kind of features for this category. So along the process of evolution, the next category could be identified was the colonial towns. Now colonial towns, if we specifically talk, it was more of a towns which were formed as a result of some western rulers over the Indian cities. Okay, for example, the Portuguese, the Britishers. So if we talk about the rulers, let me give you examples of such towns. They were like Diu, Daman, Goa, Pondicherry, then Madras, Delhi, Mumbai, Calcutta. So all these, if we try to know, they, always there was a specific kind of ruler, which was a western ruler, which gave a specific form to the city. Now how did this happen? If we see in general terms, views, opinions, actions and concepts were based on the western concepts definitely, and the standards of them, because they had these western ideas which they tried to inculcate into the place they were dominating. So the concept of us and them, the native Indians, that started coming in picture. So the Britishers started differentiating in them. So also East could never become as good as the West, right? So their relative positions were permanent. The Britain was apex of civilization in India and was seen as savage and barbaric. So hence the writer's duty to civilize or westernize the Indian society started seen. So they were recognized as very highly controlled and very orderly structuring difference from the uncontrolled and incremental growth of the native towns. So if we try and compare the organic native towns of India and the towns planned in the colonial time, we see this very stark difference. Okay, so if we see this case of Calcutta as a colonial town, there was a distinct differentiation seen into black town and white town that was done by the rulers at that period. So it was majorly from the mid 19th century. The British mercantile firms, they started multiplying for the trade, and the towns also were made into municipality. So the specific structuring, the specific larger scale of esplanades or open spaces was seen, which was not a very typical feature for this city or town. So the CBD area that was seen, the portion that was an important portion of the city. So it's also included some bigger gardens or open spaces. There were Park Street, then Maidan area. So these all were the bigger scale of open spaces that were seen. There was a specific structural planning. The later in stages also the development of bridges, the railway lines and all started coming in picture. So this is how it dominated the development of a colonial town. Similarly, Delhi, Mumbai was also seen. Then, if we see the further stage of evolution in Indian context is the new towns. So, in new towns, if we see, they were majorly, they could be juxtaposed into any era from early to medieval or to the modern times by the definition. So it is an kind of extension for the existing town. It is a and supposed to be a self-sufficient kind of development. So, however, largely associated with the phenomenon of urbanization, new towns were conceived to release the pressure from the existing main towns. So, the higher rate of migration was seen, the change of addition in the function of the town, like industrial, administrative, or railway town. So, that is how it was seen. So if we see important characteristics of new towns, so they were not as opposed to the organic towns. These were more planned, and the planning is done by the centralized authority. So there was a specific authority dedicated for the development. The decisions were and the funding may or may not be regional. So the migration and urbanization are the key reasons for existence of these new towns. So if we see one example of these new towns, Chandigarh can be a very peculiar one. So if in Chandigarh, if we see there, it is one of the first post-independence planned cities based on town planning principles. So the modern identity of a newly born nation, this is how Chandigarh was seen. We all know this. So the face of modern urban India. So the capital of Punjab state, that is another important identification for Chandigarh. So it was known as an administrative capital for Punjab. So as the city, when it was planned, the planning process and evolution shows that the new plan, which was based on the garden city concept and the neighborhood planning. So multiplication of the self-sufficient units called as super blocks was seen. Okay, and they were bounded by the road network of fast moving vehicles. So you see this differentiation in the typology, which talks about catering the need for the vehicles, planning the proper pattern of the roads, the open spaces, very formalized open spaces, hierarchy in the road network. So all these were special features here. The sector planning, which was also a very special characteristics, which was a specific size sector. So if we see for today, the last one we are studying is the contemporary or global towns. So what are these contemporary towns? So they are they are continuing the growth of existing towns again, or the suburbs into larger urban agglomerations. Okay, so that is, if we try to compare between new towns and contemporary, these are measured as a urban agglomeration of the current stage of evolution of urbanity. So industries are shifting outside the city. The migration and settling of refugees have resulted into population influx and the pressure of existing infrastructure that is to be catered. So the outmigration due to increased land rates or degrading living conditions of the existing cities, they cause such expansions. So this phenomenon is also called as urban sprawl. So it is characterized by the large distances between the movement of people to the workplace, and it is done by the mass transit system. So such advanced technologies of transits etc. are used in such towns. So the connectivity of the infrastructure becomes an order of the city. So that itself becomes a specific form giving function. So this results into multi-nuclear centers as well in some cases. So if we see examples of these, we all know a famous example of a metropolis, that is Mumbai, which is more infrastructure based. And if we see according to the growth pattern, Pune can also be called as an urban sprawl. Then the satellite towns like Noida, Gurgaon, are a few examples. So also one example of Hyderabad could be identified as a global or contemporary town. See, these all towns have been evolving since the early period still now. But if we see into a peculiar characteristics, we will be categorizing it under contemporary global town. Okay, so Hyderabad, it had expanded its form from the medieval image to the current cyber city image, where the urban form of each time frame coexists. So evolution of urban form of this settlement, it determines the river, the lake and the fort, okay, as a major identifying points which kept the city together. So expansion of this into the medieval period, if we see, and towards the contemporary, we see this basic image. It shows the central part that is developed in the medieval times and later into the contemporary town. So there are planning zones seen now, and the ring road is developed to link the urban sprawl that has happened. The green belt was introduced to stop the further extension of the urban spread, and it scattered the development into the periphery. This was around 1980s. So contemporary towns are seen as, basically the solution to current and future demands as well. So this consideration of the future expansion is a major positive point of the global towns. Okay, so this is all about these varying stages of evolution of urbanity. So this is the introduction. Let us now go travel towards our MOOC and try to read in detail about each and every type and the cities that are under these categories. Okay, thank you.